A court in France has found former President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption and influence peddling. The judges handed Sarkozy a 3-year prison sentence, 2 of which are suspended. The 66-year-old is the second leader in France's modern history to be convicted of corruption.
Yes, Nicolas Sarkozy becoming the first former French president to be handed a jail sentence. He was found guilty by the court here in Paris of corruption and influence peddling, and he's been handed a 3-year jail sentence. So we understand 2 years suspended. The 3rd year he may be able to carry out under house arrest. Now, lawyers for Nicolas Sarkozy say that he does intend to appeal.
Aung San Suu Kyi now facing multiple charges from intent to incite unrest to breaching communications laws. Is there any substance to these charges against her?
There is political substance. The junta, the military who seized power on February the 1st and detained her in pre-dawn raids, are determined to rule her out of a political future in Myanmar. They've said they're going to hold elections at some stage. There's no doubt those elections will be under their rules, but they still don't want the most popular politician in the history of democratic Myanmar, which is a short period, the last decade, to have any chance of running.
We begin with breaking news from Nigeria. That's where the government is saying 279 schoolgirls kidnapped in the northwestern Zamfara state have been released. Gunmen took them from a state-run school on Friday.
Well, basically, all the 279 girls have been released. The governor said no one is left in captivity and that all of them are safe. No one was killed. But what we saw actually were girls limping because they had to walk when they were taken from their beds 4 or 5 days ago, and they had to walk long distances. One girl was telling me that she walked more than 60 kilometers. They spent the night in the first camp for 2 days and then moved to another camp from where a negotiation process have taken place.
This document will change the lives of almost 1 million people. 1 million Venezuelans who have fled to Colombia without documents and have not been able to work, get housing, or gain access to social services. This decree gives them a status. It will protect them for the next 10 years. About 5.4 million Venezuelans, almost 20% of the population, have fled their country due to the economic crisis there. 1.7 million found shelter in Colombia. Colombia faces financial hardships of its own, which have worsened under the COVID-19 pandemic. It is still offering to help migrants, but it's calling for more financial backing from the international community.
Let's just get you an update now on the health of Prince Philip, the husband of Britain's Queen Elizabeth. You'll remember he's been treated in hospital in London for nearly 2 weeks. Buckingham Palace have released this statement. The Duke of Edinburgh was today transferred from King Edward Hospital to St Bartholomew's Hospital, where doctors will continue to treat him for an infection, as well as undertake testing and observation for a pre-existing heart condition. The Duke remains comfortable and is responding to treatment, but is expected to remain in hospital until at least the week after next.
The U.S. isn't ready to share its COVID-19 vaccine supply with Mexico just yet. That's according to the White House on Monday.
The administration's focus is on ensuring that every American is vaccinated. And once we accomplish that objective, we're happy to discuss further steps beyond that.
Press Secretary Jen Psaki's remarks came just before U.S. President Joe Biden held his first bilateral meeting with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. A joint statement after the meeting said the two countries would deepen their cooperation responding to COVID-19, but did not mention vaccines. The U.S. hopes to supply all Americans with vaccinations by the end of summer.
Zimbabwe's Vice President Kembo Mohadi is stepping down in the midst of a sexual allegations scandal. He says he's doing this to spare the government embarrassment. Mohadi is vehemently denying claims that he's had intimate relations with married women and college students.
The Vice President is alleged to have been involved with different married women and also some students, college students who were on government scholarship. And Zim Live, a local newspaper online, has been running these stories week in, week out, saying that some of the people, some of the women which he is involved with are wives of his aides, his bodyguards.